And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We got a special live going on right now. We are in the lab, so get your pen and your pad. It's Coach Clee, and I got two special Stark affiliates with me right now. It's the first time we went live with three people, so you know the camera's backed up a little bit. We're all scrunched up, and we're gonna make it work. It's your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker's favorite baker coming at you tonight, and we're gonna have a little fun. I'm gonna introduce these two wonderful guys in a minute, but right now I need to know what the energy levels are. And the camera's a little bit far away, so I may not be able to interact with you, but if I can catch it, I will acknowledge it, okay? Do understand that there's about a 5 to 10 second delay from the time that you post something till the time that we see it. So if we're talking about something that you posted, we may be on to another topic. We will try to address it live if we can. If not, we will address it after live, so go ahead with your comments. I see Shayla's on. Thank you for tuning in. Please tag, like, and share. I see someone else is on. I don't know. I can't see right now, but if I don't give you the acknowledgement, put your name in the comment section and where you're from, and we will acknowledge you later. I see, I'm not even gonna try and fake it. I cannot see, I'm sorry, I don't know. But like I said, I need to know what the energy levels are. So if you had a good day today, I need you to put a 1 in the comment section. Put a 1 in the comment section if you had a good day today. And fellas, you know I don't believe in bad days. I like to call them character building days because you can always learn something, you can always do better, you can always grow. If you had what most people consider a bad day, character building day, put a 2, looks like a peace sign. Put a 2 in the comment section if you had a character building day. Put a 2 in the comment section if you had a character building day, and hopefully tomorrow's a better day for you. And if you had what I had, because I got to sleep all day, because I worked all night, but I did sleep all day and it felt good, I need you to put a 0 in that chunk. Put a 0 in the comment section if you had an outstanding day. That's the kind of day where, you know, it's sunny, it's nice out, didn't rain, nobody cussed you out, stuff like that. This is a good day. It's kind of like this is a bubble, and you're right there in the middle of that bubble and nothing can penetrate it. Put a 0 in the comment section. That's what I'm going to put at the end of this live. Tell me, what are you going to put at the end of the live?
I'm going to put a 0.
0?
Great day.
Outstanding day, Ron?
Listen, can I put a -1?
Wow.
Because that's how great. Listen, I didn't know my day could get any better, but I'm having a chance now to be on live on your show.
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited about it.
I'm excited too. Thank you.
I've known you for a little while now, and I don't know that I've seen this level of energy and excitement out of you, and it's kind of making me feel like I got to keep up. So,
okay. How's everybody doing? Thank you for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it. So everyone joining in. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be a real fun one. I got a special guest who's never been live before, or at least never been live at this capacity. And is,
you just got, yep.
You know what I mean? You know, Halloween wasn't no better. one Halloween, I asked my dad for a new Halloween costume. He made put the clothes I had on the previous day. I said, who am I supposed to be? He said, yesterday. Now get out of my face. And Christmas was worse yet. One Christmas.
They gave me one as a decoration for my classroom.
Well, then you should keep it where it's supposed to be hanging.
Oh, it might be your son.
No, yeah, I seriously doubt
I
it.
mean, I know where you live now. So.
Oh, no, we're not, no.
I know what you're getting for Christmas.
I know. I've been a bad boy, cold. No. But I know that through cheerleading, so I had to use a little bit of athleticism to slide it to the door, and unfortunately, your shoe caught the run up.
Yeah, you ripped the end of my shoe off, and I had to teach that way with my toes sticking out. Thank you.
Clapping.
2 items of clothing you destroyed of mine. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Sure, if I knew you longer, it'd be more.
Well, I mean, you did bring jackets up.
I think, a lot of people, they say, oh, I want to write a book. And you think writing the book is going to be the most challenging part.
That's probably the easiest part.
Exactly. That's probably the easiest. That is, I would say, certainly is the easiest part, or has been the easiest.
It's not your job to figure out the how, the what, it's not your job. It's just your job to stay focused on the end goal.
That's a hard discernment for a lot of people, man. They don't want to really trust and really follow that inner tuition to really take that next step to follow what they really truly feel. So check your heart and then follow in your heart. And whatever is the outcome of that, I promise you, like, you won't have any guilt, any regrets, nothing, because it's pure.
Yeah, what a man does.
Okay.
So whenever I figured that out, I'm like, okay, what is a man? So what I came up with is a man is a current state of being. So and
that's not who I am. But I think having the background that I had allows me to have an open mind, and I've really kind of destigmatized my view of mental health and the recognition. I mean, statistically, 1 in 5 people experiencing a mental health crisis.
20 years been in the field of health promotion and helping people live healthier and happier lives. My doctorate, as you said, is in health psychology. And health psychology is the study of
lifestyle. And I would tell myself that's not true. Don't allow yourself to go into, do the hard thing. I used to think that being hard and being tough and being in the streets and living that lifestyle was the hard life. That's the easy life. Like, I'm gonna just keep it 100. Like, it's the easy life. Being humble, doing what you have to, letting go of your pride and asking for help. Like, that's the hard thing, So I went about it the wrong way.
Suicide is the only answer that they're wrong.
Well, as I said, one of our main things is start the conversation. We have to start the conversation with them. And hopefully what you can convince them and anybody is to somehow, our other theme is connect with hope. So hopefully we all
forensic scientists. How interesting is the job itself?
So whenever I meet someone and they're like, "Oh, so what do you do?" and I say I'm a forensic scientist, they're like, "What? A forensic?
Yeah.
What? What? Oh my God! I'm so interested. What is it?"
Before we got on, very nice shirt. Okay, the one, the brown one or whatever that was in the prior episode, I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Right here, so then stay in this realm, man. You looking good. Nah, man, I don't really have anything else, man. Just check my music out.
Minority contractors. Definitely put our minority contractors to work. That's number one. Also have a workforce development program built into it for 18 to 24-year-olds. So we'll actually pay them to, learn these trades while the houses are growing. Not new to the lab. He's been in the lab before. We've done events together. He is a former high school. See?
Yeah. Oh, the number one. Oh, this is Disco Jam today, baby. Oh, wind me up. Ha ha. Pop that collar. Let's rock, KC and the Sunshine Band. We're gonna take you back to the 70s, baby. Oh, with the big afro. I'm the boogeyman, I'm the boogeyman. Turn you on, I'm the boogeyman, I'm the boogeyman. Do what you want, I'm the boogeyman, I'm the boogeyman. Turn me on, I'm the boogeyman, I'm the boogeyman. Oh, we're up. Good I am. We're all the way live today with Coach Clee. Hey, he and Shayla, they're the best in the business. I'll let him give me my intro.
And I gotta get that out there. I don't own the rights to that music before I forget to say that. That way it's documented. And before I didn't know it was coming like that. I thought I was doing the intro, then the music was coming. So, it's all right.
Well, I totally
numbers, man. You ready for this?
What number?
Number 3.
Okay. All right.
The Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost.
The Holy Trinity. There you go.
Yeah, so that number is very special to me.
She's like, y'all dehydrated. Like, damn.
So, of course, capital came because we are the capital. Right. Rebirth actually stands for respect earned by intelligence, resilience, truth, and humanity. Which I think are the core to, everybody.
The why. And the why for myself is the purpose of why I even do what I do, which is about, it's empowering people through grace and compassion so that we can become our best selves. That is Unbottled Expression's mission. So when I thought about the wine, it was like, it's not me. So I had to go with where my heart's desire was, and here we are.
how can I help somebody else accomplish their goals? That's my mindset, and that's how I am, and that's why I feel I'm suited for this role, what I do. Because I'm always trying to figure out, okay, how can I help you? How can you connect? Okay, you're about to exit your business. I know a great business broker. I need you to connect with them. Oh, I know a realtor. Okay, I'm always constantly. Those are my accomplishments when those become successful.
They want to grow up and be just like you. What kind of advice would you give them?
I tell them from the jump, listen, I didn't fall out of heaven. You know, a lot of times when they meet you, or you know, even when you go talk to them.
10 times better need. What's the main thing? Sorry, I know it's kind of hard for the.
I know what he's saying. You ain't got to read all that. You know we need that do re mi fa sol la ti do.
I'm being scolded. That's all right. We're still in the setup process. I want to let everybody know, Coach Clee and everyone out here is at the Legion. We're setting up. We're excited. I love the hearts. You love the hearts? I love them more.
So
it looks a little cute when it's coming through too.
I've never seen it this way, so it's like, oh, I feel it.
I'm sorry, and then this is Tasha's first actual live ever.
Yeah.
I've seen her on Instagram and Facebook, and they were recorded videos, and I was not aware. I thought she was a live pro. I'm honored to have you on the show, and this be your first live. Thank you. And she's doing it to me. We're on. Oh, it works. We're on. I got special guests. Tasha Nicole Fry is sitting right here. I'll introduce her in a minute. She's been on here before. She's very electrifying.
You missed me.
She takes over the show, you know, to the point where she might get kicked on. But we'll talk about that later. It's your motivational speaker.
I absolutely dare you to listen to that voice that won't go away, that keeps repeating itself, and you know there is something that you need to take action on. And to quote a dear friend of mine, this is not a dress rehearsal. You get one time for the performance of a lifetime. Wow. Don't miss your call. Don't miss your stage call. Enjoy your life. And this is your recording. Should I just absolutely dare you to dream?
Thank you for coming on the show. Absolutely. Change real quick. You saw that.
Anyway, we're going to get right to it. I thank you for tuning in. Shayla's on. Please tag, like, and share. It's your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker's favorite baker. I got a special guest in the lab today. His name's Dave Myers. I'm going to introduce him in a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in. It's Coach Clee coming at you. I hope you had a wonderful week. I know we had a little special going on over the weekend. Hope you tuned into that. I got a special guest in the lab today. I'll introduce her in a minute. I got a couple things going on. I hope you guys enjoyed the video at the beginning of this live. It was put together by a very special person. And it highlights a lot of the special moments that have happened in the lab over the years. And that's just a few. I know it seemed like a long video, but that's just a few of them. We've been doing this for about 3 years or so. So there's a lot of people who who'll make the next cut. Trust me. I see James Robinson's on. Thank you for tuning in. Please tag, like, and share. Understand, well, first and foremost, let me put the rules out there. This is going to be an interactive live, okay? So from the time that you post a comment to the time that I see them, I may be on. There's about a 5 to 10 second delay, so we may actually be on to another topic. However, we will try and acknowledge them to the best of our ability, all right? But it's your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker, Coach Clee, coming at you. Right now, I need to know what the energy levels are. I need to know what the energy levels are like. So if you had a good day today, I need you to put a 1 in the comment section. Put a 1 in the comment section if you had a good day today. And those of you that watch the show, you already know I don't believe in bad days. I like to call them character building days because you can learn from them. You can grow from them. They're necessary for growth because they make you appreciate the outstanding days that much more better. So if you had a quote unquote bad day or character building day, I need you to put a 2. Looks like a peace sign. Put a 2 in the comment section if you had a character building day. Put a 2 in the comment section if you had a character building day, and hopefully tomorrow's a better day for you. And I say this over and over again. I know it sounds a little redundant, but if you had what I had, an outstanding day, I need you to put a 0 in that chumpy. You know, it's the kind of day that we all strive for. I got to relax a little bit. I enjoy doing these shows, so I actually have an outstanding day preparing for these shows and getting ready. I see Michelle Penn's on. She had a good day today. Thank you for tuning in. Please tag, like, and share. I had an outstanding day. Let me go ahead and put mine in there. Put this in the comments section. Bam. Ooh. Shows up like that. Yep. Coach Clee had an outstanding day. So if you had an outstanding day, also put a 0 in the comment section. Put a 0 in the comment section if you had an outstanding day. Keep your energy levels coming. Get the likes up. Get the hearts up. Yeah, I mean, we have fun seeing all that stuff. Right now, some of you guys are on the Coach Clee Facebook page. And if you haven't already subscribed to that, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. We're also on the Clark Tent Facebook page. I cannot see the comments from that one. I actually have to scroll over and look at my phone. So if you comment on there, I may catch it. I may not. I will see the comments from Coach Clee. I will see the comments from the YouTube page. We're also on the YouTube page under the same name, Coach Clee. So if you haven't subscribed to that page, make sure you subscribe to that page, and I can see the comments there too. All right. And as you see scrolling at the bottom, workwithclee.com is the website. And on the website, you'll see a bunch of wonderful things. First and foremost, you'll see, you guys already know, the first book I wrote about 3 years ago, March 4th. It's a motivational empowerment book on helping you find your own breakthrough. We talk about toxic people, toxic situations. We talk about having the courage to do things, talking about taking care of yourself. So many wonderful things. It's a guide on helping you get your own breakthrough. That's in this book. Also, Clarence Stokes, Herb Thompson, Jason Brown, and myself, we wrote No Shade, All Light. It's 25 of our favorite quotes and what they mean to us. So it's over 100 quotes in this book with meaning. Could be used as a devotional. That's also on the website. But what came out June of last year, which hit the streets by storm, is this pocket-sized book, #Grudge. You know, all of us have had some sort of anger, mistakes, grudges, held on to things. Les Brown said it best. Holding on to a grudge is like holding on to a hot piece of coal and expecting the person that you're angry with to feel the effects, when really you just need to let that thing go and start the healing process. That's right there. And The Lab, which came out this year. I'm most excited about this book right here. Not because I'm on the cover of it. I mean, I am on the cover, but because this is a compilation of some of the people you saw in the video and many, many more. 44 people were highlighted in this book. Like I said, we've been doing this series for the past 3 years, and here it's series 1 of The Lab. The Lab, I will explain a little later, will be coming to this version of The Lab. As you can see behind me, I know the red wall's not there. We're transitioning sets because we're moving on from this version of The Lab to something else. Something is coming down the pipeline. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too early, but many things are coming. So stay tuned. I hope you guys like it. We'll be leveling up. We'll be leveling up. All right. So make sure you guys check all that stuff out. Make sure that you guys hit the like buttons. You guys stay engaged. And I'm going to move on to, she's not in her studio, but she will be talking about her sponsors. She got the camera moving around a little bit. I'm going to bring Shayla to the stage. Shayla, you ready? Because I see you didn't put your energy levels in. Bam.
I can't because I am mobile. I'm mobile again. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. It's a little choppy.
Yeah, it sounds choppy when I'm listening as well. I don't know if everybody else is going through that. And I apologize about the background noise. I am volunteering. I'm the cheer coordinator, so we're trying to get things done again. And so I apologize about the noise in the background. But first, as always, I want to thank our sponsors. We could not do this show without any of you. So we appreciate your support as always. First one I have is the FAR agency. So if you're somebody who avoids applying for credit, you have late payments, collections, or charge-offs, then there might be a solution for you. Tiki Farr Walker with the FAR agency. She's board certified and can assist you with restoring your credit. She can even help you get started with restoring your credit on your own. You can contact Tiki at thefaragency.com and also on Instagram and Facebook at the FAR agency. Or you can give them a call for a consultation at 877-297-9707. Moving on, we have Damon Buxton, owner of D2 Training Solutions, where they use the latest in innovating and cutting-edge technology to create a unique experience for the end user. At D2 Training Solutions, they take boring out of training and allow for fun, interactive training that can be done at the user's pace. Make sure you contact Damon Buxton with D2 Training Solutions at d2trainingsolutionsllc.com. Then we have the Harrisburg YMCA, Camp Curtin Branch. They offer a variety of services and programs for the community. They have a youth and teen center, computer lab, and wellness center. that you can utilize at an affordable price that works for your household. They offer seasonal programs, summer camps, winter basketball leagues, lacrosse, and flag football. In addition to the program, their doors are always open for youth in the community. They can use the gym, library, and computer lab for summer and after-school programs. Cornerstone in Uptown Harrisburg is the newest venture for the Y. The intention is to remove blighted vacant lots, reduce crime, and create affordable housing for homeowners and more. For more information about their programs and offerings, check out their website at ymchoharrisburg.org. Last but not least, like to always give a shout out for Jay Moore. He does our website, make sure everything is up to date. And again, just apologizing in advance for the noise in the background. I am doing what I love, volunteering and participating and hanging out with the youth this evening. So I am in a shed on the second floor. I know Coach Clee knows where I'm at. He's familiar, but yeah, I'm stuck upstairs. I'm hot. I'm gonna go back downstairs. Turn it back over to you.
Thank you. You did a wonderful job. I appreciate it. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're at the part of the show that you guys have been waiting on. Like I said, I got a special guest in the lab. Some of you may know her, some of you may not. I actually was introduced to this individual's accomplishments through we have a mutual friend. The friend reached out to me and said, this is somebody who needs to be highlighted on the show. And so through the course of conversation, we made it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, she's a mother. She serves our country as a senior master sergeant in the United States Air Force. She has faced many adversities and has overcame them. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you Dana Bazile. Did I say that correctly? Dana, are you there?
You absolutely did. Great job.
What I'm talking about. Thank you. Welcome to the lab. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. It's been an interesting day. It's been an interesting week, month, year, but I am doing well, blessed and highly favored.
That's good. I know you had a little bit of an emergency or kind of an emergency beforehand. So is everything okay?
Everything's all right. We've had some, this past year has been tough with my dad's health. About a year ago, this month or next month, he was hospitalized and just things have gotten pretty complicated. But we recently moved him down to Florida with his sister, and I'm trying to help her as best I can. And so I've got to be on the ready to answer her calls and to help assist her through the challenge of caring for someone who can't care for themselves. So,
gotcha.
But everything is all right.
All right. Can you tell? I know you gave us a little highlight. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself for those of the people who are watching right now that have never heard of you or know what you do?
All right. So again, Dana Bazile. I am in the United States Air Force. I've been in for 19 years now. May 28th made 19 years. I didn't expect to be in the Air Force this long. Thank you. I expected to do 4 years and walk away. I just wanted the money for school. And I found out that I really enjoyed it. And it was a great career. And I'm glad I stuck around. So I am a senior master sergeant as of May 1st this year. And as far as my personal, where I'm at in my career, I'm about to move to California next month. I got a new assignment that came along with the promotion in May, so we'll be heading out to California. A little background on myself. I'm originally from Newark, New Jersey. I grew up there my whole life until I left for college at 17. My dad was an immigrant from Haiti. He came here as a teenager. And my mom is from Irvington, New Jersey. So we grew up very, very modest upbringing. Again, my dad immigrated here from Haiti. So him and his sisters, along with his mom, did their best to make a better life for themselves. My dad ended up losing his vision when just about the year I was born, around 1980. So he would have been in his mid-20s. So that's all I've known. I grew up with a dad who's been completely blind my whole life. And that created some challenges, but it also taught me a lot. I learned a lot from him and from the experience and from both of my parents' resilience. So I went to college, tried that out, majored in having fun, and I really had to think of a better plan. And I came to the Air Force at the age of 21, and 19 years later, here I am, still pressing on.
All right, I can totally understand that. I left for the Army myself the July after I graduated high school, thinking that I was going to conquer the world in the Army, and I turned out to actually enlisted for a lot of fun. I made a lot of accomplishments, but needless to say, like you thought you were going to do your 4 years and get out. I did do my 3 years, and I got out and I transitioned on to something else. So I totally get it. When you decided to enlist in the Air Force at the age of 21, was it because you said you wanted to go back to school, or you wanted to help? You wanted the Air Force to help out with money to pay for school?
To be honest, what initially triggered my decision to join the Air Force, it was right after 9/11. I remember that day. I remember where I was at in life. It was a combination of what was going on in the world and where I was personally. At that point, I had already disenrolled from school. I was working. I actually had a pretty good job. I was a assistant general manager of a Holiday Inn at the age of 21 out in Jersey. I lived at the hotel for free, but it wasn't work that was meaningful to me. And when 9/11 happened, it kind of put things in perspective. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I wanted to do something in service to others. I wanted to do something that felt like it had a purpose for me. So that's what initially got me thinking about it. I talked to my sister. She had been in some years prior. She's older than me. And she was that phone call I made. And I said, do you think this is a good idea? And she's like, I remember clearly, she said, I never thought you'd be interested, just knowing you. But she said, you're going to do great. And that's all I needed to hear. And then, of course, from that point, I sat down with the recruiter and, had the conversation. What's in it for me, right? What's the education? What's the pay? I honestly took a 50% pay cut initially joining back then, but everything that it had to offer as far as the career, education opportunities, and really just a way to leave. I was at a point in my life where I needed to get away from my environment, the influences that I was allowing to surround myself, and just I needed to get into a place where I'd have more structure and get into a pattern of making better decisions. So the Air Force just worked out at the time. But initially, the initial thought was a patriotic one. So
totally understandable. So when you enlisted, the MOS that you selected and they trained you on, is that the same MOS that you're in now, or did you reclass?
I didn't stay in that job for long at all. In the Air Force, we call them AFSCs, Air Force Specialty Codes. So it's a little different from MOS, the same thing. I did that job. Initially, I signed up to do AWACS radar maintenance. So I was out on the flight line, pushing the toolbox. I worked mid-shift in the middle of the night from 11 p.m. to 7 in the morning, working on radar systems on the AWACS. Believe it or not, my background in having a technical ability came from my dad. Despite him not being able to see, he remembered how to do so much that he could do when he had his vision. He had me doing plumbing, electrical, construction. I was his eyes. He would have me do the measurements, cut the wood, but he knew how to put it up. If he was fixing electrical, he needed me to tell him which wires were which, but he was able to figure out with his hands how to do it. And that's how we brought money in. That's how he brought money in the house, was to do jobs for people that he knew that didn't want to pay someone more expensive. They pay my blind dad to, come and fix things in their house. So coming in to do a technical job was right up my alley, but I only did it for a couple of years. After that, our career field was overmanned, meaning they had put too many people in than they actually needed. So they said, all right, who wants to go do something else? And I looked into, I had been volunteering for the base honor guard. The honor guard, they're the ones that do ceremonies at funerals, at promotions, retirements. I had been volunteering with them, and they had a slot open on the base for their, for their office staff. So I applied and got selected. So really, I only fixed planes for about 2 years. I went over to base honor guard for about a year and a half. And then the Air Force Honor Guard came out, their drill team came out to do a presentation at our air show. And they recruited me. And they said, so the difference between base honor guard and the Air Force Honor Guard, it would be like high school basketball versus the NBA, right?
Oh,
So,
okay.
so the Air Force Honor Guard, they're out in Washington, D.C. They're doing ceremonies at the White House, at the Pentagon. They're doing funerals in Arlington National Cemetery. So they came out and recruited me. They said, we have no female sergeants, no female NCOs, and, you know, we could really use that female leadership. So it sounded exciting. Fixing planes had me out in Oklahoma. So the chance to go to DC, since I'm from Jersey, I said, yes, I'm ready to come back to the East Coast. So I went out there. I did that for about 4 years. And then I didn't want to go back to Oklahoma. So I looked into recruiting, and I got selected to be a recruiter. I recruited out in Yonkers, New York for 4 years. And then I became what's called a flight chief, which is simply a supervisor of a team of recruiters. And I did that in Brooklyn, New York for 4 years. And then I came to our group headquarters out here in Pennsylvania, and I've been here for 3 years. In this assignment, I'm in charge of all of the goaling and job distribution for the northeastern third of the country. So anyone who's enlisting in the Air Force from South Carolina out to Michigan, out to Massachusetts, you know, the New England area, I'm the one that distributes all those jobs and those goal allocations to those units. And we also are a liaison between our main headquarters down in Texas. So that's what I do now. And then I'll be heading out to California, like I said, next month. And in that assignment, I'll be in charge of production for all of Southern California and the state of Arizona. So that'll be my next assignment. So there, I'll be really driving production for that unit.
Well, there you go. Well, congratulations to you on your promotion and your your new job, the job that's ahead of you. It sounds like you've done a lot. I'm pretty sure you've had a bunch of wonderful highs and lows throughout the course of a career, and a very struggling, but yet fun accomplishments as well. I mean, you going from the flight deck is that what you called it? The flight deck?
The flight line.
Okay. I was a parachute rigger, so I remember being on drop zones and being in pack sheds often, and I couldn't stand it the first couple years at all either.
And by the way, thank you for your service. I didn't say it earlier, but I appreciate your service as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Aaron Lewis is on, and he says thank you for your service, Sarge, as well. Don't want to overlook that. I put that up there as well.
Thank you.
So, and as you're transitioning to go to California relatively soon, are you excited about that?
You know, that's the number one question people keep asking me. Are you excited? First and foremost, I had every intention. I had mapped it all out. I felt confident about getting promoted, and there was a position that I was shooting for. It's the same job, but the position was in South Jersey. And I'm like, nobody wants to go to Jersey. If you look at people across the Air Force, they're like, oh, that's the armpit. They don't want to go out there. So I had it all mapped out. And because a friend of mine that's in that position, he just retired last week. I said, the stars are going to align perfectly. I didn't realize that there was someone else who was already there. She got promoted as well. And it made more sense to keep her in place than to move her someplace else and move me there. So it was, you know what they say, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans and he'll let you know what he really has in store. So as far as me being excited for California, it was what I chose once New Jersey wasn't an option. I intended to be here close to family, but I said, well, if I can't get New Jersey, send me to another coast. I need to be on the exterior somewhere. I don't want to be in the middle of the country. I did Oklahoma. Just send me to the other side, and I could go to the Pacific Ocean. So I am excited. There's just a lot that has to happen between now and getting in the car and starting to drive. So I'm just pacing myself with that excitement because I just keep myself way too busy. I had mentioned that we just moved my dad down to Florida. That was a huge undertaking. Like I said, he can't see. Now he can't walk. He has advanced dementia, plenty of other medical issues. So to get him on a plane and move him down to that was one major hurdle that I'm glad we got done. And I'm so thankful for his sister who's taken on that responsibility of taking care of him because I just can't do it anymore with this new position. So that's one major hurdle. My mom lives with me, but she's not coming to California. She's going down to Alabama. So we've got to get her moved down to Alabama. And then, what's that?
I said, everyone's going somewhere.
everyone's going somewhere. We're all going in different directions. And then I have a niece who is in Alabama, and she's coming out to California with us. She's 23, trying to figure out what what her plans are in life. And so she's excited to come out. I really need someone's help with my daughter. I am a single mom. So with my job and with needing to travel, I need to have someone. My mom would be willing to go, but she's ready to go down south and, kind of relax. She's been a huge help for me. She's been living with me for 8.5 years since my daughter was 1. My daughter's about to turn 10 now. And I don't know how I would have done it without her. She's just, when I need to travel for work, I don't have to scramble to figure out what I'm going to do. But yeah, there's just a lot to happen. And then I got a whole house to pack. So anyone that's listening, you want to come over and help me move some boxes, some furniture, you let me know.
Yeah, there you go. Ask Facebook, ask YouTube. I'd help, but the way my back works on like Tuesdays, it just doesn't right.
Okay, all right.
So you said, what's it like to be a single mother in the Air Force itself? I know you've got some help with your family, which is good. But what is it exactly like? What kind of experiences have you had?
Well, I think for a lot of people, their idea of what military life might be a little jaded by movies and, kind of what you see. Really, we all go to work every day. We come home, we have families. The difference is if you have to deploy or you have to go for training for an extended period of time, we're just a company that we have to travel for work with some degree of frequency, depending on the job you do. So between working in recruiting, well, even as a recruiter and then a recruiting supervisor, and now at our headquarters, the type of job I do, I don't deploy. So that's a major difference between me and some other single parents that are in the military. I don't have the situation where I need to leave for 6 months at a time. So I'm blessed in that regard, just by the career I happen to be in. Outside of that, I go to work every day. And I do have to travel for work. Maybe once every 3 months, I've got to travel for a week. So like any other single mother, I need to secure childcare. I need to think things through as far in advance as possible, and also be prepared for the short notice changes that happen if I need to stay late at work or come in early. Of course, this last year, like so many others, I was working at home. So that seems easier, but as we all know, we all went through it when the kids in the house and they're homeschooling it all. You'd rather just go to the office, right? But yeah, being a single mom in the Air Force, we have a pretty good support system. I guess the other difference on the other end of the spectrum, being in recruiting, I'm not stationed on a base. So whereas if I was stationed on a base, they have childcare on the base. They have a grocery store. They have gyms. They have everything that you need to sustain yourself. They have it on base. They even have housing where you can live on the base. When you work in recruiting, we're more so embedded in different communities. So I don't have access to those types of things. I'd love to have what they call a CDC, the Child Development Center, where there's like really inexpensive after school care and programs and, sports and all. So just choosing to be in recruiting, I don't have some of that, but yeah, it's I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's been manageable, and not everyone can just tell their mom, hey, I need you to move up here from Florida for the next 8 years of your life and, be my in-home nanny. Not everyone has that luxury. So sometimes you got to think pretty creative. But again, it's like so many others that are not in the military, single moms, single dads that just have to figure it out and use your network.
Right. And like you said, when you enlisted in the Air Force, you spoke with your sister, and you got her advice. Would you say that she was, or is there a person that you modeled yourself after once you finally enlisted and got through basic training and everything?
At the time back then, if I had to think of who I modeled myself after, it's really a collection of people. I don't know that I had this one particular person whose footsteps I was trying to follow in. She was only in the Air Force for a brief period of time. It didn't work out for her. She didn't do, 20 years, 19 years. So, but I definitely have always looked at her as someone. Her name is Veronica. She's someone that she's hardworking. She's determined. She pushes through adversity. But that's kind of a collective theme with the women in my family. I've been blessed to always see examples of resilience, of women who have dealt with some very challenging circumstances and figured it out, from my mom to my aunts to my sisters. I've always had great examples of women who just don't say, I can't, or don't just fall to pieces. And sometimes you need to fall to pieces for a brief period of time, right? You need to be able to fall apart, but you got to figure out how to put yourself back together and to seek out people that will help you in that, people who genuinely want to see you do well. So really it was a collective. And then, once I came in, there are certain people in the Air Force who chose to step in as mentors for me and to give me that good advice and to give me that push. And I'm not sure where I'd be today if it wasn't for certain people. I'm sure I'd be alive and well, but I don't know that I'd be a senior master sergeant. I don't know that I'd be still in the Air Force. I may have walked away years ago if I didn't have a few certain people in my ear to keep pushing me along.
Gotcha. Man, that's totally understandable as well. And on the flip side of that, is there anyone that you have mentored or that looks up to you and strives to be like you?
That's a tough question to ask. I believe so. I try to be humble. I try to leave the accolades for others to give to me. But that's how I grade myself, the type of feedback I get from the people that I lead. I've always found it important to take care of my people, whether it's to put them in for awards when they deserve to be recognized, to push for them to be competitive for promotion, to give them tough feedback when they need it, to be honest with them about their performance, even if it's not good news, to cheer for them, to stay in touch after we've gone our separate ways. So I've kept in touch with, as a recruiter, several of the recruits that I've actually enlisted, and that's a rewarding thing in and of itself, because I recruited in just north of New York City. So a lot of my applicants came from the Bronx, came from, Harlem. They came from, and even in Westchester County, Yonkers, some tough areas where they told me their whole life story, how much they were struggling in their current circumstance. I remember one young man, he would come to my office and just say, hey, Sergeant Bazile, is there anything I can help you with? And I'd find some busy work for him to do. But when it came down to it, he knew I was going to take him to lunch. He wasn't getting food otherwise. And every time he came to my office, I said, all right, let's go get a bite to eat. I didn't put him on the spot, but I knew that was his way to be able to get a meal for the day. He was homeless. He was sleeping on his cousin's couch. He was ready for him to go. And you just take care of people. I didn't think of, okay, I'm spending this money, I don't owe you anything. No, like, it's someone that's in need, and it just feels good to take care of people in that way. So from my recruits to people I supervise, I just try to think about those that took great care of me and what I appreciated. But then you also think about those who neglected you, those who you needed their support and they weren't there. And you just got to remind yourself, don't be that person. When someone looks back and think on me, I don't want to be that person that they say, she let me down. I needed her and she wasn't there. And we'll all miss the mark at some point or another, but at least be conscious of it and to, look out for ways that you can take care of the people, whether they're assigned as you're assigned as their supervisor, or if it's just someone you look to the left or the right and you say, this person could use a helping hand or an encouraging word. I try to focus I try to be intentional about doing those things.
Absolutely. And you just reminded me as well. One of my platoon sergeants, when I was stationed at Fort Bragg, he said something that resonated with me throughout the years, throughout my entire adult life. And what you said reminded me is, no matter what kind of leader you have, whether you have a good leader or a bad leader, you can learn something from them. If you have a good leader, you take the traits of that good leader and you develop yourself into your own style of that version. If you have a bad leader, you know exactly what not to do, and you don't develop those traits, and you make sure that you do not turn into that person for other people. So you learn something from everybody. And of course, you had some people, like you said, that failed you, or if you feel like that had failed you in the past, and you don't want to be that person for someone else.
Something else that I'll say along those lines, as far as learning from everybody, and be open. The advice I would give to people, be open to people who have something to offer you, even if you don't expect it. And a quick story I'll tell you, I was out in New York. I was a recruiter, and I had just had my daughter. Things were not going well, to put it lightly. You know, I was struggling. I was struggling emotionally. I needed to go see somebody every Wednesday and talk through things. Unfortunately, the relationship with her biological father, it was a very toxic one. And I was just in a really bad place. And, you know, some folks were there for me and some just were, hey, what's up with your numbers? Why aren't you putting as many people in? You know, just worrying about the job and not realizing that I'm crumbling and I really need a helping hand. But, you know, I persevered, and thankfully there were some people that were in my corner. But it got to a point where we didn't have a permanent flight chief or supervisor assigned to us. So another supervisor was told that he was going to be covering our area. He was out in Long Island and he was covering New York City and Westchester. So he came up to me, and this was a older Caucasian guy that I just never really had a personal conversation with. I saw him, you know, at different events we would have. And, you know, I thought he was a nice enough guy, but didn't think he thought anything of me. And he came up to me and he said, you know, I don't know if you heard yet, but I'm going to be your new supervisor, you know, until you get a permanent one. He said, but I see something in you. He said, I don't think people notice your potential and tap into it. He said, I want you to be the informal leader within your peers. And I'm looking at him like, do you realize I'm a mess right now? Like, what makes you think? But I embraced it. It just meant so much for him to see something in me. He said, whenever you speak, there's value in the input you add. Even if you're frustrated about something, you voice your concerns about something and everyone stops to listen. And he said, I want to tap into that and I want to see where you can grow. And he turned out to be such a good friend, someone who pushed me from the rank. At the time I was a technical sergeant and I was testing for master sergeant, and he would call me every day. He's like, are you studying? How much did you study today? You need to hit that book. You need to make master sergeant. And this was the last year that you could test for master sergeant. After that, or you can test without meeting a board. After that year, you would have a panel that would look at your record and decide yes or no. But that was the last year that all you had to do was test and have the right points in other categories. He said, you want somebody else deciding, or you want to decide for yourself? And I studied my butt off because he was in my ear. I made master. I needed an 88 to make it. I got an 89. Who cares? I made it, right? And I mean, I know 89 is like, well, that's a B plus. Trust me, the average score in this test is like in the 60s, low 70s. It's a test was so much. So if I had made master at that point, I would definitely not have made senior master at this point. He was just that person that just really looked out for me. And I wouldn't have looked across the room and said, he's going to be someone who's going to make a huge difference in my life and going to set me on track. So the advice I would give to the viewing audience out there, there's that story of, you know, the guy stranded out in the boat and he's saying, God save me. And, you know, someone comes by in a raft and he's like, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And a boat comes by. No, I'm waiting for God to save me. A helicopter. And he's like, God, why didn't you save me? He's like, I sent you all these people, right? So it's like that in life. Sometimes we ignore people that are right in front of us because we don't think that they're the person that's supposed to be so impactful. We make assumptions about people, we count them out, and we don't realize an opportunity for someone who can change your life. I won't tell another long story, but even my supervisor now, he's retiring next week. He worked with me in New York too. He was a supervisor of another team. And I just, again, saw him from a distance and said, man, he's so cool. I wish he was my boss. But he left before we really developed a relationship. And then fast forward some years later, and I saw his name as my supervisor here. And I said, oh, I'm be good. I didn't know him personally, but I just knew he was cool. And the past 3 years, again, I'm not going to take up 5 hours in the show to give you all the details, but a lot has happened in this past year. It's been a pretty challenging year personally, and he's been there for me. I mean, just talking to me for hours on the phone like a best friend would. And again, not someone that I thought years ago was going to be a person that I would need in my life right now. So, you know, just be open-minded, open-hearted to to whoever God places in your path to help you through. And just don't be surprised by who it might be. It might be that person you least expect.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Although I hope you guys were taking notes for all those golden nuggets she was dropping. And right there, Michelle Penn said, humbleness at its best, such a blessing. Gary Grant's on. Thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, and you kind of segued into a couple questions I had, but I want to kind of take a step back real quick. If there's anyone watching who wanted to enlist in the Air Force, how would they go about doing that?
Okay, so first and foremost, I would suggest you go to airforce.com. We keep the website pretty simple, airforce.com, AIRFORCE.com. Go on the website, and there's a spot on there, find a recruiter. And you'll put in your zip code, some basic information about yourself, and it'll plug you in with a recruiter. The enlistment process, just know that we're going to get all in your business, but you know, we have to make sure that you are truly qualified and you meet the requirements. And then we're also going to allow you in our business. Ask us all, as far as a recruiter, ask all the questions that you want, do your research. It's a different ball game now for an applicant than when I joined almost 20 years ago. Everything's on the internet. There's no surprises. Whatever you ask the recruiter, it's all online. So we don't have any incentive to lie to you or mislead you. Just know that we have to gather your information and determine what you're qualified to do. So you may be qualified to join, but let's say you've done your research and you've fallen in love with this job. I want to be an in-flight refueler. That sounds like the coolest thing ever. Well, if you don't have depth perception, if you don't pass the depth perception part of your physical, we don't want you aiming a huge thing into another plane to refuel it while the plane is flying. We need you to have some depth perception. So that's just one example. You need to just trust the recruiter, but trust but verify is the phrase, right? Look online, get some answers there. Talk to your network. Just keep in mind, though, this is one advice I would give people. When you're asking others for their opinion about what you're looking to do, whether it's to join the Air Force, any other branch of service, just be mindful that their experience is their experience. You have some people, and when you look online for, you know, these chats of who says what about, you know, the service, my experience, happy people don't post online. When I have a great experience at the store, I just go home and enjoy whatever I have. I just pick my car up from the shop and he's like, fill out the survey. I need to remember to fill out the survey. But happy people don't go online. Disgruntled people are eager to tell any and everybody how bad the experience was. So just take it with a grain of salt when someone has their perspective of their experience. They have advice for your life. They're not walking in your shoes. They don't know what's making it building your interest level to join. They don't know your circumstances, and they don't know what you're capable of. You may be capable of more than they were able to accomplish or achieve when they were in, or you just may be chasing a different dream than they are. But yeah, do your research and embrace it if it's the right thing for you. Just understand it's going to challenge you. Just basic training alone, to have someone telling you what you can and can't do, that messes with people's heads. Just know that basic training is only 6 weeks long, 7 weeks long. And after that, you go to your tech school. That's basically like going to college. You're just in class every day, learning how to do your job. And then you get stationed somewhere and you go to work every day. My hand on the Bible, I've been in 19 years. Since basic training, I've not had anybody yell at me or cuss at me. Now, that just might be the way I carry myself. I'm not playing all that. Like, you're going to talk to me with some kind of respect because that's how I'm going to carry myself. You're going to see that I'm going to work hard and do my best. So I don't invite that. But if someone did cross that line, they're going to hear about it. I don't believe in disrespect, and I don't disrespect the people that I supervise. So when people are like, I don't want someone to yell at me all the time, that's basic training. And if it extends beyond that, either your behavior is inviting it, or there's a toxic leader that needs to be handled. So that's just my perspective.
I wish I could say the same thing. My basic training, I got yelled at a lot. I got cussed out a lot. AIT would be similar to tech school. We got yelled at a little bit more. It was a little bit more laid back. But jump school, we got yelled at a lot. But I understand why we got yelled at, because it was attention to detail. You had to be on point at all times. But permanent party, yes, it was more. I don't want to say laid back. It was more focused and intentional. So it was more mentorship that
Right.
hey, young soldier, you're not going to do it this way. It has to be done this way, and it has to be done this way for a reason. So there was more direction. So yes, absolutely, I do understand exactly what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you a question. What gives you what motivates you, and what gives you the inspiration to keep moving forward? Like we have our good days and we have our bad days. Sometimes we don't feel like getting up and going to work. Sometimes we don't feel like continuing on with the same process. Sometimes we just need a change. And other days we have, like I say, a 0 day. You just go after it and everything's falling in line. Not we fall on different realms on the bridge when that happens. But consistently, what gives you the motivation to keep moving forward from day in to day out?
You know, two things, and they're tied together. One, my history. When I look back at all the hurdles that I've had to overcome, and I can't give it to you all in the lab. You all are gonna have to wait till the book comes out. Wait about 6 months to a year after I retire, and the book will be published. But at this point, I can't quite put it out there just yet. But there's just so many things when I look at my resume of what I was faced with and how I overcame it. And sometimes it was through my own effort. Sometimes it was someone had to drag me along, but consistently, always, it was God being there for me and showing me a way that I didn't see for myself. So when I look back at the things that I've been through before, why be worried now? Why be riddled with anxiety about what's ahead of me when I see what I've pushed through? I think sometimes when you face adversity early in life, it prepares you more for facing adversity later. So you have some folks, let's say we look at, some folks we see out in the tabloids, these wealthy people, when you've had life easy when you were younger, and then all of a sudden you lose your money, it's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to kill myself. What am I going to do? Because they didn't learn through the school of hard knocks how to overcome things. And I think I grew up, I'm putting it mildly to say we grew up humbly, poor. We struggled, and there was a lot of family drama. My parents' split was bad. Everything that I went through, I look back at and I say, okay, I made it through those things, and I'm still here and I'm thriving. So that's what motivates me. My faith definitely motivates me, and truly it was strengthened to an exponential level over the past year. While we were all stuck at home, I got on a prayer line with Pastor Kenny Houston out in Jersey. He had a prayer line 6 days a week. 6 days a week from 8 to 9 o'clock, we're on this prayer line. And it wasn't just praying. It was a lot of study. It was a lot of scripture and a lot of, teaching. It was basically Bible study 6 days a week. And I'm like, well, what else do I have to do? I'm at home. I'm not going anywhere. Why not call in every night? And so I learned so much, but also what came after that, everything that happened with my dad over the next 9 months, I realized that I needed to build up my armor, my spiritual armor, to prepare for what came at me next. So at this point right now, my faith, I've seen firsthand what God can do, how much prayer can change things, that all the answers we need are in the word. And I don't know if this is if I can preach on here, but that's just where my motivation comes from.
You're good.
Okay, good. So that's it. Just seeing what I've been through and just trusting God and what He has planned for me. Again, I had this curveball thrown at me that we're moving out to California, but I'm like, I could have stressed over it. I could have been so upset, but I wanted to go to Jersey. But my daughter is going on 10 years old, and the fact that she'll be able to have in her life story, I lived in California for 2 years, 2 or 3 years, and all the experiences we'll have, every curveball can turn into a blessing if you embrace it and if you keep your eyes open for what God has planned for you. So.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Yes, everything, there's a blessing in disguise in everything, and there's something out there waiting for you and your daughter, and whatever it is, I know it's going to be something wonderful. So,
amen.
What if I could build a time machine? Did you ever see Back to the Future?
I'm sure I did years ago, or pieces of it.
Long time ago, probably came out 1985, 1986, something like that. Let's just say I could run into Doc Brown and I could borrow his DeLorean. and we can get the flux capacitor working, and we could travel back in time, let's say about 10 years, okay? And traveling back in time 10 years, you can run into yourself about 10 years ago, and you can have a 10-minute conversation with yourself. What kind of conversation, what advice would you give yourself, this version of you to the 10-year ago version of you?
Everything's going to be all right. 10 years ago, at that point, I would have been pregnant with my daughter.
Okay.
There was already strife in that relationship throughout the pregnancy. And, you know, it was just a challenging time to figure out how am I going to do this? Chances are we're not going to be together. You know, just I'm trying to continue my career. Like everything just seemed so overwhelming. And at that point, unfortunately, I wasn't actively building and working on my relationship with God. So, you know, I wasn't as prayerful and insightful about how to deal with things. I was just kind of a mess at the time. So I would go back to her and I would tell her everything's going to be all right. You need to get your butt in church. You need to find some faith-based friends that can help you deal with things and have a perspective that's more uplifting and positive. And yeah, just tell her to do your best, that you're not going to be a great mom every single day. Some days you're going to be a good mom. Some days you're going to be an okay mom. And some days you're going to knock it out of the park. But it's okay. Just make sure she's safe. Make sure she's loved. So a lot of my advice to 10 years ago me would be about how to handle being a single mom and balancing things, and to trust that there's always going to be a way to work things out. There's no such thing as failure completely. You know, you can fail at a certain thing, but you just don't fail overall and give up. And then I would also tell her, you know, there's no such thing as I can't. There's just so few things that we can't do. And then I can't fly, but you know, when it comes to things reasonable within our reach, it's either I don't want to, or it doesn't matter enough to me. It's really not I can't. If it matters enough, you're going to put forth the effort. And it's okay to say some things don't matter enough to me to do that. I'm not pursuing this, or I can't help you with this because it's not important enough to me. It's not that I'm not able to do it. And sometimes it's just I don't want to. So when there's something in front of you that's challenging, don't lie to yourself and say you can't do it. Just say I don't want to. You know, at least be honest, because then you can do something with that. You know, when I worked on the flight line, I was going to school full time, 12 credits, doing engineering classes while working overnight and volunteering in the honor guard. Again, I have a resume that says you can multitask. If you're not doing as much as you think you should, it's because you're choosing not to do it, not because you can't. So buck up, put your big girl underwear on, and if it matters enough, put forth the effort and you can accomplish anything that it is you choose to.
It reminds me, I used to say to my son all the time, especially when he would go to football practice or things in school. He actually enjoyed practice and playing the games. It would be school that he wouldn't enjoy. So he'd have a homework assignment or a project that he would need to work on, and he'd be like, I can't. And I'm like, ironically, you know, the word can't only belongs in English class, but you're not working on an English project, so you might as well just go ahead and knock it out the park and get it done. The only time I want to hear you say I can't do something is because you're reading it in a book or writing it in a sentence to make that whole paragraph flow. Other than that, I don't want to read.
100%.
Yeah. So on the flip side of this question, let's just say that there is a 12-year-old boy or girl who's watching this live or watching the replay. Okay. And they've never heard of you or seen you before until this moment. And they're looking at you and they're like, wow, you know, I want to be just like her when I grow up. I want to accomplish big things. I want to travel the world. I want to be stationed in many different places. What kind of advice would you give them if they're watching and they ask you right now, and they're like, I want to be just like you when I grow up? What would you say to them?
I would say to them, first of all, be just like you. Be yourself. Figure out who you are. It's great to be inspired by others and to be motivated by the accomplishments of others, but learn your own personal strengths and dream your own dreams. And then know that if I can turn out to be wherever I am, I'm not going to say I made it. I'm no, millionaire, billionaire, but I feel like I'm doing well in life. It's not about financials, for me at least. I don't look at it and say, well, I need to make this amount of money or I need to reach this position to be successful. Success is what you make it. For me personally, it's how others receive me. That question about who considers me a mentor, who I've mentored, that's really where I grade myself, is the impact I have on the lives of others. So no matter what it is you're trying to achieve, know that you can achieve it. You can chase your dreams and you can accomplish far more than I have. There's plenty of opportunities that I've squandered. I could have been further along as far as the worldly definition of success. But where I think I've succeeded, I stayed close to family, not all of them. Some of them are just, you got to put them aside. But I've stayed close to most of my family, and particularly the ones younger than me. I have so many nieces and nephews, and I've always taken them under my wing. Hey, let's go do this. Let's do that. You know, I've talked to them about their choices and all. So always look left to right. The more you help others, the more that will come back to you. I believe so much, whether you call it karma, or however else you describe it. You know, chase your dreams, but also look to the left and the right. And the more you help somebody else along as well, the further you'll find that you go. So that would be my advice to the younger folks.
That's a good answer. Good answer. Look at that. Like you practiced it. Good job. Good job. So yeah, I know you discussed growing up with your father and helping him out and doing things, the trades basically. I know while you were in service, you discussed mentors that came out of nowhere at the time, and you didn't know that they were going to be such a monumental change in your career and your life. Is there a particular book or story or person that your life was going a certain direction, and this book, a story, person, whatever it may be, changed your life so dramatically that it took a positive turn left or right? And if so, could you share it with us?
This one, I wish I read more. I do more audiobooks. So there are some audiobooks that I love, but I can't say that a book per se changed the trajectory of my life. And, you know, I don't want to come off like negative Nancy, like I've just been through such hard things, but truly it was the bad experiences that changed the trajectory, because they just made me more resolute to overcome them. I had to fight through them. You know, there was a pretty bad situation that happened in college. And again, this is a 1 hour show. We're not going to go into a whole lot of depth, but that was probably the darkest time of my life. It had a lot to do with me withdrawing from school and kind of spiraling. If I could go back to her, I would tell her, one, don't allow this circumstance that happened to you to define your future. And just because you've fallen and you spiraled a bit doesn't mean you have to keep going. You can stop and get up whenever you feel able to. So it was really that situation and watching myself go down a deeper and deeper hole, and then eventually saying, no, I'm meant for more. I'm meant to do more with my life. I had so much potential, and I'm not going to allow a circumstance that occurred in my life that I couldn't control to define my future. So it's really those experiences where, whether someone intentionally or unintentionally tries to steal your shine or slow you down or drag you down, it's those moments, and then the people that again rise up to give you a helping hand in those moments. So, but as far as a story or a book, not so much. But definitely, if I had to shout out every person that I've counted on to be there for me over the years, we'd be on this call for a long time, because I'm not here on my own. Every accomplishment I had, there's someone that either pushed me or I was able to bounce my ideas off of, or they inspired me in some way. So yeah, I've got quite a long list. So all of those out there, you know, if there's some folks watching that you know you've played a part in this, just know you're in my heart, you're in my mind, you're in my spirit, and I appreciate you for every positive impact. And for everyone who tried to do the opposite, look at me now. I'm going places.
There you go. And smiling about it too. Look at that money dance on that. Good. You could share. I know it's interesting that you would say that because a lot of setbacks are set up for a comeback, and without having setbacks, you wouldn't. Like I say in the beginning, I don't want to sound cliche about it, but you know the character building days are character building days. They're necessary because you do have to grow. If everything's great all the time, if the sun's always out and it's always sunny and it's the perfect day, it dries up the land. You do have to have rainy days because it helps the crops grow. You have to get wet. You have to get dirty. Things have to happen in order for you to appreciate those sunny days, those outstanding days even more. And once you actually go through, you get knocked down and you're rained on and everything seems to happen all at the same time. Just know once you get through that, and you will get through it, what's waiting for you on the other side is 10 times better than what it would have been had it just been given to you just like that.
Absolutely. You know, we have a phrase in recruiting that when you go through recruiting school to learn to be a recruiter, for one, we have to do this chant that's like, boy, am I enthusiastic, which is pretty cheesy. But there's a phrase that we also are taught to live by, and it's attitude is everything. And at the time when you go through recruiting school, it's just like, oh, that's just a cliche. But I've learned to really internalize that. You can't control what people do to you sometimes. You can't control what happens to you. It's the attitude that you have. Do you embrace it with a positive outlook and say, okay, how do I turn this into, like you said, this setback into a setup for a comeback? Or do you just fall down and cry? And I'm not knocking crying. I cry just like the next person. But do you just wallow in your sorrow and just you speak your life into existence? And if you constantly say nothing good ever happens to me, all I do is fail, you know, everyone's out to get me, you're speaking that into your spirit, into your life. And I truly believe that that's what will come back to you. But when you speak positivity, you see some people who will speak positive over their life and you're like, man, looks like everything's going bad for you. And then you'll see them later on and they have improved or they've gotten into a better circumstance. It's all about speaking positivity over yourself and having a positive attitude no matter what comes your way. And I'm not in any way being delusional to think we're not supposed to have a human response to challenges, but within a reasonable amount of time, shake it off and say, okay, what's next? How do I move beyond this? How do I grow? How do I get out of this bad situation? But when you just stay in there and wallow in it, that's when you don't see that growth and improvement. So attitude is everything.
Attitude is everything. Absolutely. And we've had a great live. We had a great conversation. And through the course of conversation, is there any questions that I may have forgotten to ask, or through the course of our conversation as well? Is there anything, has your memory gotten jogged? Is there anything that you would like to share with us? Right now, the floor is yours.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you for inviting me on the show. Like I told you before, I've had to do interviews that were work related. I've never had anyone asking me about my life in this type of a forum. So I appreciate the invitation. This has been, you said it'll be fun, and it was cool talking to you. So thank you. Thank you to the viewers out there. I hope what I've had to offer has been helpful in some way, insightful, or at least motivating. I haven't been through the worst and I haven't achieved the best, but I am proud of myself for where I've gotten to and based on what I've been through. And that's an important thing, to be able to be proud of yourself and to celebrate yourself. With this promotion, some people don't have a promotion ceremony. I said, you know what, this might be the last one. I don't know. I'm going to celebrate and do it big. And my whole family came out. So just celebrate your wins. Do the best you can. Don't measure yourself to the person to the left and the right. Measure yourself based on what you're able to do. And I guess that's all. You know, I really, again, appreciate this time. This has been fun chatting with you, Coach Clee, and I wish you all the best. And if there's anything I missed and I need to come back on, I'll let you know.
Perfect. I like that. And we got a comment from Michelle Penn posted up there. She said, thank you for your service, Senior Master Sergeant. You are the reason my job, DLA, has such a great meaning. Godspeed, and thank you, Coach Clay. Absolutely. And thank you for tuning in. So,
awesome.
You know,
thank you.
Real quick, absolutely. Real quick, I'm a cut to a quick intermission, and I'm just stand by 1 second. I'm starting to stutter. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. Stand by for just a few brief more conversation here. But I do these shows, I put on. And I say that to say this, like I said, the red wall is not there. We're in the transitional period of the lab. We're transitioning into something new and something better. I hope you guys will like it. I'm pretty sure you will. But as of right now, I will do the lab periodically because I do have a couple people that have asked to come back and highlight their talents and their products on the show. So I will keep it going. It just won't be just like this format. It will be totally different. It'll make sense later on, trust me. But if you've got a business, a product, a positive message, and you're looking for a platform to get that information out on, let me know. Inbox me, text me, get a hold of me. Look at the website right there. Shoot me a message. Let me know. I will schedule you a time and to get you in the lab. We'll tell everyone to get their pen and their pad. We'll have fun and we'll talk about it. Again, if you've got a business, product, or positive message, do understand it will not be done weekly. Like I said, things are going to be changing. So I will fit you in the best I can. All right. We will schedule you. I want everyone to forge their own paths and I want everyone to evolve so hard. I'm going to bring Dana back on. There we go. Dana, thank you for coming to lab. Thank you for making yourself available. I know it would seem like it was very short notice, but you came in and you hit it out of the park. I appreciate everything. And for donating your time, I do have a special gift. Everyone that comes in the lab gets a gift from me because if you donate your time, I feel like I owe you something in return for it. So I'll make sure that I get this to you. And I got a special gift coming to the lab next week. You have any idea who the special guest is?
I do not.
That just means you got to tune in and see.
I'll be there. I'm a Laura follower at this point.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Money dance on that. Money dance on that. Thank you. Yeah, I learned a lot. I had a lot of fun with you on the lab. In the lab, I know you're going to be very impactful. I know you have wonderful things coming down the pipeline. Keep it up. As Shayla said, also great live. Yes, absolutely. Bam, get that up there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys continue to stay safe, continue to wash your hands, be respectful, be mindful. It's your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker's favorite baker, Coach Clee, coming at you. Hope you all have a good night. Peace.